Hello, Kathy. So I apologize that it took me so long to do this reading, but I appreciate your patience. Things as you unfortunately experienced at OSR have been kind of a blur for Eric and I the last couple of years. And things are getting definitely better, and a lot has been healed, not just from that situation, but just, you know, my diagnoses and his ankle and all kinds of stuff. So the first cards I'm going to pull are from a deck called the Lightseers deck. And this is by Chris Ann. And this is a pocket version, so it's pretty small. But it just felt like the right deck. I wanted a full size, but I was part of a card club through the Hay House where I'd get these different decks. And so I got the pocket deck right around the time I was thinking about buying the full size. All right, so we're starting out with the Six of Cups. So I just went ahead and went with the pocket deck. And then we've got the Eight of Pentacles. And I love the images and the artwork on this particular deck. All right, we've got the Hierophant. And for me, I took a certification course, and so I can do spreads if people want a spread or if it's a short reading, but I like to do things very intuitively. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Swords. And so I just pull cards until either nothing is coming out of the deck or it feels like we're at the end. All right, so we've got the Five of Swords, and then we've got the Sun. Or it feels like the message is complete, and then I go on to the Oracle cards to support the message, and I read them. All right, and we've got the Hermit. I feel like there's at least one or two more cards that need to come out, so we're going to go ahead and keep drawing for a moment. Let's see. We're not going to do like 5 at one time. There were 2 that came out at one time. The Five of Swords and the Sun came out at the same time. But that was definitely just because this deck can be a little awkward to hold where it's smaller. Versus a card just jumping out because it's supposed to be red. All right, we'll do 2 more shuffles, and if not, then Spirit's telling me that we're done. All right, so we had 2 come out as I said that. So we got the Two of Pentacles. And then there's one on the floor. So hopefully I don't knock things over and I don't like show you my bottom as I bend down to get this. And I don't know what it is because it landed face down. Ugh. And apparently there's a piece of metal beside of me. This is kind of the catch-all room that Eric puts a lot of stuff in. So I don't know what the metal is. All right. Oh, awesome. So the final card that I'm pulling from the deck for you is the Magician. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards from the Tree of Life deck to kind of clarify the message, although I feel like it's coming through pretty loud and clear. All right, and these cards are beautiful too. Let's shuffle these and see what we get. And just looking at the cards because they're already kind of coming through with messages as I'm shuffling. All right, so let's see what comes out of this. there was going to be a message from the Tree of Life deck, but it may not be the case. But we will see. If not, there may be another deck that's calling to me. I haven't used this deck in a while, so I was like, well, I'm noticing it, but is it because I haven't used it in a while, or is it because it has a message? Funny enough, I have shuffled this many times without any cards coming through. So we're going to set this one aside for now, and we're going to move on to the Spirit of the Animals Oracle. Yeah, I'm feeling called to look at my bag, so it may be that there's another one that I'm supposed to use for you instead of that one. Is it the Shamanic Medicine deck? Maybe. Alright, so we'll go with the Shamanic Medicine deck, and this is by Barbara Meiklejohn-Free and Flavia Kate Peters. And that happens sometimes. These cards are really big as well. That's the back of the cards. And it may be that I was meant to pull cards just from this deck, or it may be that I was meant to pull cards from this deck before the Tree of Life. But I'm being more called to the Shamanic deck and the Spirit of the Animals, so we'll go this way. This is why I do intuitive readings, because sometimes when I'm thinking just cognitively, logically, oh yeah, I haven't used this deck in a while, it's not what needs to happen. So let's see what comes from this deck. All right, and as you can see, this one's even bigger, so it's hard for me to hold. All right, cards for Cathy that clarify and support the message. I'm also trying to be really careful because, like I said, I have no space, which is why I'm sorry that you're right in my face, but kind of is what it is. And I would angle it down so you could see the cards, but I have not fully figured that one out yet as far as how to get this particular stand and the one I have at the office to angle that far down, or where to put it that I would be able to have that angle. All right. Am I supposed to pull from the Spirit of the Animals first? You're going to try one more time shuffling through. There we go. Thank you. All right, so we've got Medicine Bag, Treasure, okay, now we're trying to like have a whole bunch of cards fly out at one time. One at a time, please. One at a time, please. What messages support the overall message for Cathy from her and my guides, angels, ancestors, God, Spirit? Some of these cards just aren't wanting to come out. I mean, usually I'll have them flying out of the deck, but I guess it's just wanting to be very purposeful and intentional. And this Drum Awaken makes complete sense with a couple of the cards that you have that I was noticing, especially the Hierophant, the Hermit, and the Sun and the Magician. So that makes perfect sense. We'll see if there's one more card that wants to come out or not. Almost dropped them. So the cards always support, it's just for some reason. Whee! All right, Sea Creatures, Immersion. So this is making a lot of sense, and I think, I don't know if you're kind of connecting with what I'm getting right now, but it makes sense that the stones that I brought in with me were Celestite. So this is throat chakra as well as an angelic connection. And so like in angels, guides, spirit, whoever, and then indigo gabbro. So this stone is connected with third eye chakra, intuition, developing your intuition, things like that. And also with the black in it, very grounding and protective. So as you're opening that intuition, being very protective in how you do that. Yes. And then we have one of my favorite cards, Feathers, which is restoration. So that feels like that completes those particular cards. So we're going to set that down. And I have to be really careful with moving this camera around because, as I said, it is kind of precariously put on the small table. All right, so yeah, definitely feeling that it's time for the Spirit of the Animal cards. As you can see, these are kind of bigger as well. All right, try not to move your cards while I shuffle these. Oh, hiccups, excuse me. All right, just a couple of shuffles. And let's turn these this way. No, that doesn't feel right. But they're too big for me to grab onto. So how does Spirit want me to do this? Okay, so I'm hearing that instead of, I have shuffled through these like this or like this before, but I'm hearing that I need to just pick a spot, pick a card. And so this one. All right, we've got Ladybug, good luck. And I have nowhere to put that. We'll put it up here. All right, what else? All right. And we have Horse, Freedom. Okay, anything else? And we have Elephant, Greatness. All right. So we've got those 3 cards coming out of the Spirit Animal Oracle. I don't have a lot of surfaces in here, just stuff. So if you see me kind of reaching all around, that's what I'm doing. There's just no room to really put stuff. All right, so we're going to go for at least 1 Soul Truth card. Sometimes I have 2 come out. So again, that's the Soul Truth Awareness deck. I had to start re-recording, so I don't know if I've shown you that or not yet. But only because I had gotten into it and then my camera went wonky or something, so. All right, 3 shuffles I'm hearing. Now we're gonna pick a card. What card do we need to support this message? What does Cathy need to hear? What does she need to know? Woo, geez. Okay. When was the last time I danced freely? So this is making sense with some of the things, like even that Horse, Freedom. All right. Anything else that is wanting to come out and not 5 cards at one time? Anything else? Anything else? One more shuffle. Ooh. Okay, I about dropped them, so we'll do one more shuffle. I said one more. Okay. And then we have, how can I be more flexible right now? So we'll look at those messages at the end. Where do I want to set these? We'll set them back here. You get a big look at my forehead here. All right, so when I do readings, sometimes the cards are past, present, future. That pretty typically is how things go. So when I'm looking at the 6 of Cups, oh, so with this, we're looking at like nostalgia, thinking about times in the past. So these may be memories and things that are happy. They may be memories and things that are difficult, but it's just thinking back to a time before. You see how you've got the little kid with the puppy, and now it's a grown man and a grown dog, and you've got all these cups in between. So it's being able to understand that those past experiences, whether they felt difficult, whether they were easy or happy, whatever they were, these experiences from the past led to where you are right now, and they are all valid, they are all valuable, but we cannot keep our, like I'm seeing like a thought bubble. It's just we cannot keep our thoughts focused on that past. When we look at the next card, which is the Eight of Pentacles. Okay. So with the Eight of Pentacles, this is saying that you've worked really hard to be able to build up what you have. So you're at this point where you've done all the work that you need to get to where you want to be. And so you see she's just kind of sitting here and she's surrounded by the things that she enjoys, and she's taking a moment to just sit and rest. So I feel like this is saying for you to be able to understand that maybe you don't have all the things that you thought you would, like I'm coming back to this nostalgic place, but that you're at a place of contentment. And the other thing that I see in here that's connecting with a lot of the messages that are coming through for your present and future is if you look at what she's got in front of her, she has like plants, she's got books, she's got candles, she's got all these things that are very natural, these things that are bringing in like that thought, logic, creativity, knowledge, information, understanding. So like the work piece, you're through that. Now it's time for you to gain the information, the knowledge, the things that are going to support you and your spiritual growth, which leads into the Hierophant. So the Hierophant, you see him sitting here. He's got his little yoga pose. He is laughing in joy. There's a stairway that leads up, and then you've got kind of this very celestial type design that's coming up. So with this, the Hierophant often represents higher learning. So whether that's self-directed or you find someone who's like a teacher, a guide, a mentor, you find courses or things to take. The Hierophant is that place in the deck where we look at, okay, so you've gone as far as you can with your own personal knowledge, connections, and things like that. Not that it stops there, but in order to elevate it, in order to move forward, to grow that knowledge, to grow that connection, to grow that intuition, it's finding through, like I said, it could be, and that's where the books that I was talking about in that last card are so important. It's finding ways to take in information, whether, like I said, that's from teachers, mentors, books, pages, whatever it is, and taking in the information and being able to not sort out, that's not the word I'm looking for, kind of tease out what it is that you feel connected to and what you don't. Because the thing is, even for myself, I may teach people to do something a certain way, but that's because that's how it feels right to me intuitively. But I always try to tell people, because I do it this way doesn't mean that you have to do it this way. For example, even when I teach Reiki, you teach the basic hand positions, but even when I do Reiki, and other practitioners say this as well, you do it intuitively. So whatever feels right to you, like if there's a place that you need to linger at longer for someone else, or even doing the cards, like I was telling Eric earlier, because he felt called to a deck, you learn the basics of what the card meanings are, like the Hierophant being that higher education or divine connection, intuitive learning, higher self, things like that. And then you read it based on what you intuitively are feeling for the person or yourself as you're looking at it. The Seven of Swords, the first thing I'm drawn to here is this crow. I mean, he is ticked off about something. And then you've got this human in the back who has some crow feathers. There's a couple of crows that are sitting there kind of watching, and there's some feathers that are falling out of the pack. Like this person, and he's got a knife in his hand. Okay. So the Seven of Swords, when we think of swords, often that's going to be about that logical and intellectual thinking and communication. So it's being attacked for, is what I'm seeing with this. It's kind of being attacked for what you say, what you do, like people not believing you, even if it's not a physical attack or somebody's not saying something that others would perceive as being hurtful, it still hurts. And it feels like where this person is sneaking around, like that it's not something you would expect, that they're kind of going about it in a way where they may even be saying it as if they're being kind or they're being helpful, but at the same time, it's hurtful. It doesn't feel good. It's like, we'll go to the next card, which is the Five of Swords. So this is still about that communication and everything. Like, you see this guy, he's like holding his head. He's got a pained look on his face. So it's like things that people are saying, communicating, or you're picking up on and feeling from some people, and people that you wouldn't expect it from, or people that you would expect different from. And maybe even people that are close to you, just because I keep noticing how close these crows are to this man right here. There's like a headbutt, like I just see heads butting. And so it's being able to release that. Okay, so coming into the head, like this crow even looks almost like it's whispering into his ear these things. And being able to let go of the judgments or communications of others that you do not feel connect with you, and to release them, like these birds flying off into the back. The other thing that I see is this little person back here. They're kind of separate from it, but look at the way those arms are. It's like a victory and a freedom, which you have freedom in a couple of cards coming up. And so that makes sense. So like I said, with the birds, releasing those judgments, or releasing what other people think of you, that if they come around to what you're saying and they understand it and they connect with it, cool. But if they don't, that it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. I think you know that, because I called Caitlin a force of nature, and she is, but I think the mama bear, and kind of, you have that silent, or more quiet way of being able to assert yourself. And so knowing that if it's taking too much of your energy to do that with other people, you can pull back and focus on other things. And the Sun card definitely looks very bright and it's beautiful. And you see she's actually, that's the same pose. That is the same pose. Okay. So yeah, that freedom, that is the same pose here as it is here. So looking at the fact that, you know, those cards, the swords, they're pretty dark because it's things that are difficult, things that are hurtful, things we don't want. But releasing that leads you to the Sun, which is a new beginning. It's being able to, you see all this yellow right here, that's the solar plexus chakra, which is just right under our chest, right over our belly. That's confidence. You know, when it's unbalanced, it's anxiety, worry, things like that. But this is stepping into confidence, and confidence within yourself. And that plays out in the cards that are coming up as well. And so if you look as well, all the colors on this particular version of the Sun card, it's all of the colors together. So it's being balanced within yourself and having, like, I just saw exactly, yes. So with the Sun, you can see the light coming down, and it's coming right down at her third eye, because the big part of this message is that this is about your third eye awakening. This is about you. It's always been awakened, but you being able to embrace it in such a way that you're not pushing yourself down, that you're not second guessing yourself so much, that you understand that you have a beautiful gift. And even if other people don't understand it, even if other people aren't able to validate it, even if something really random comes to you, that it's still something that is meaningful in some way. You just may not know at the time what that meaning is. And with the Hermit, you see how the Hermit is kind of off to themselves, but it's not all dark and doom and gloom. In fact, around the Hermit, you see this beautiful light that's coming out in this deck. And this person is sitting, and they've got their knees up, they've got their hands around their legs, kind of contemplative, very much so in their minds. But at the same time, I don't know if I can get this close enough. Look at how peaceful that face looks. This person isn't bothered by anything. And with the Hermit, a lot of times it's focused on being able to pull back, to allow yourself to take time to meditate, to focus on things that are helpful to you. Being able to, and this is where some of this light is coming from, and also the fact that they're elevated into the sky, It's being able to make that connection with your higher self, with your guides, with whoever it is. So really taking the time, it feels like, to not just tap into specific locations is what I'm hearing, but being able to allow yourself to just open up and meditate in general. And one of the things that just popped in my head, like words, was automatic writing. I don't know if you're familiar with that. In psychology, we call it streams of consciousness. So it's just allowing yourself to have like a piece of paper, a journal, something like that. And whether it's, usually I would talk about writing where you don't even know where you're going to start. You don't know what you're going to write, but you just start writing, and then all of a sudden you have a page full of stuff, and you look at it and you may or may not even remember writing it. You may have heard or thought what you were writing as you were writing it, but it wasn't like it was something that you sat there and intentionally had the thought and then you wrote it, if that makes sense. And so that's why it's streams of consciousness or automatic writing, because it's just happening. And sometimes that's tapping into your higher self, your intuition, and sometimes it's spirit, guides, angels, whatever, coming through and writing messages that you need to hear. But here's the thing that was interesting, because I've not suggested this before, but what I also saw, I don't know if you draw, but I saw like drawing. So where if you do draw or doodle or whatever it is, allowing yourself to just do that without thinking. Like sit down, don't have an idea of what you're going to draw, don't have an idea of what it is that you think you should draw, but just allowing yourself to move the pen. And if it's squiggly lines, it's squiggly lines. But there's something about you just allowing free thought, like allowing it to flow and not feeling like you have to have some kind of structure. With the Two of Pentacles, this is about finding the balance. Sometimes it can be there's two decisions that you're juggling, but either way, this is usually going to be the two coins and you're kind of juggling those ideas. So this is being able to, with all the things that we talked about, not staying in the past, but knowing that with the past you've been able to build up to where you are right now, accepting that where you're at right now is a good place to be, that you're settled, you're comfortable. Things are always going to be up and down. That's just life. But it's time to connect to your higher self. It's time to really tap into that divine intuition and the higher learning, to let go of the judgments and thoughts of other people. And I also heard of yourself when I was looking at this guy where he's holding his head, letting go of the judgments of yourself and coming into that sun energy, that freedom, that new beginning, really embracing and becoming confident within yourself and who you are, because your light is bright. Like within these cards, there's so many where there's this light. The Eight of Pentacles, there's a light around it. The Hierophant, there's a light at the top. Even the Seven of Swords has the moon with light beams coming off of it. The Five of Swords has a beam of light coming down beside of or over top of the figure with their arms up in that freedom kind of mode. The light beam even in the sun that's connecting to her third eye, as she's also in this very freedom pose. The light coming out of especially the heart chakra here with this Hermit. But it feels like you're kind of juggling something. I'm trying to see what it is that you're juggling, and it could even be that internal struggle of, and I'm looking around to see if there's anything. Freedom is what keeps coming to mind, just allowing yourself to be free. So juggling those thoughts of what you should and shouldn't do, what you should and shouldn't say. I feel like for the most part you push through, but there's just this little piece, and I'm feeling it kind of right here in between my heart and my solar plexus chakra. So it's like your heart wants to jump in and connect and do the things, and then your solar plexus chakra is kind of a little timid, feeling a little anxious, worried about how things are going to happen. And so I feel like this is where the next two cards come in. So you've got the Magician. What the Magician says is you've got all the tools that you need to in order to be able to do whatever it is that you want, to tap in, to connect, to get those hits, to be able to create and manifest whatever it is that you want. And so with the Magician, if you look, he's also got this light coming out of his hand, but it doesn't just go down. It comes back up into his hand. So oftentimes the right hand is associated with sending energy. The left hand is associated with receiving energy. So as you can see with his right hand, he's sending out the energy into this water, into whatever situation it is that he's focused on, and the energy is returning. So knowing that whatever, and he's even got the infinity symbol on his hood. The infinity symbol is part of this. So that energetic, universal energy, Reiki, Chi, things like that, it is abundant and it is always there. And as you know, things go up, things come down. So as you share your energy, energy is also restored. But part of that is being able to allow ourselves to connect, to do that meditation, to do that self-care, grounding, protection, whatever it is. And this is also where, with the magician and the medicine bag, this is kind of the same thing. The medicine bag, that treasure, it's the things that are supportive to you in your journey with the metaphysical. So for some of us, you know, for me, I've got little bags that I carry around with gemstones. I also sometimes put feathers in there, or little trinkets, things like that. I don't necessarily call them my medicine bag, but that's kind of what it is. It's whatever feels right for you, whether it's that day, that month, that week, whatever it is. Or you can even keep it in there for a while. You can carry it with you in your purse, you can carry it with you in your pocket, or you can even leave it by your bed if it's something that's going to be helpful for you in the evening. But the thing is, you have to listen to your intuition. It may feel really silly. Like the first time I ever put a feather into a bag with gemstones, I was like, yes, I connect with feathers, and yes, I connect with gemstones. But this feels really weird to put a feather in here. And then it was just right. And it's what I did. So it's, even though part of this is looking at that higher learning and taking in information, like I said, keep in mind that information doesn't have to always come from other people. It can come from you. And also, it's your intuition, your interpretation of your intuition, and knowing that that is valid, whatever that is, even if it seems silly. And that's where drama's coming in with the awaken. Right now is the time when you are being awakened, not only to understanding how powerful you are, and obviously you've seen some of that with the situation that happened and how you really tapped into the particular cell and things like that. But it's also, I heard playing it small, like not playing it small, knowing that whatever it is that comes to you, it's okay to know that, to say that. Obviously sometimes in various company we may not want to say certain things, but part of your awakening is a complete immersion with the sea creatures. So with that immersion, I feel like that's talking about, and the restoration, so I think I need to talk about that too at the same time. The immersion, being able to put yourself, I'm coming back to this Eight of Pentacles, being able to immerse yourself with the things, whether it's people, whether it's objects, whether it's practices, whatever it is, places that you want to look into, whatever it is, it's being able to immerse yourself in that, but also to make sure that while you're doing that, you're taking that time to go more introspective, to do the healing work, the meditation, the grounding, and restoring yourself as you do it. So not allowing yourself to give too much, not allowing for others to take advantage of your energy or your insights and things. Just being, like I just saw, like protective, like almost like grabbing and hugging, like I'm protecting you. Just being very protective of your energy overall. Especially where you're very caring and empathetic. People are going to be drawn to you, and even if this is ever me, you always tell me, hey, I can't talk right now, but people are going to be drawn to you as an empath, and they're going to want to share things with you or talk to you. And if you don't have the energy, it's perfectly fine, and you already know this, to go into that hermit mode and pull yourself back and be more introspective and really take care of yourself so that you can find that peace and restoration. So the ladybug, good luck. Oh my goodness, we're at 34 minutes. With the ladybug, good luck. This is exactly what I just said. You are a bright energy. Let worry go and be happy here and now. Is this not what I've just said in the reading? Feel good about being a loving and colorful you. Loving and colorful you. I don't know why I just used that voice. This is part of my ADHD autism weirdness, and I'm trying to embrace it myself. You bless the world with color and good luck. So, but even with that, even with blessing others with color and good luck, you've got to go back into that, doing that for yourself too. And then with the horse, freedom, that was the next card. Your heart is pure and free. Yes, it is. A greater purpose calls you. You have unlimited reserves of stamina and strength. You follow the winds of change and accomplish your dreams. And that's what we were talking about when we were saying whatever it is that you're feeling called to, whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, you have the tools in place to be able to do it. But part of it is being able to, even though it says you have unlimited reserves of stamina and strength, know that that doesn't mean that it's unlimited for everyone outside of you, that you have to come back to yourself in order to be able to restore yourself so that you do have that unlimited energy and reserves. With the elephant and greatness. Love is your strength. Leadership is your path. I told you. Your mama bear. And part of mama bear is that you are very even with what you say. You know you want to sometimes be I want to beat somebody up, but you're not going to do it because you know how to restrain. You know how to, as you said, kill them with kindness is what just popped in my head. You know how to be able to do it in such a way that you still get your point across, but you're not creating a lot of drama. You're just kind of the sage, wise person is what I'm hearing. Your wisdom inspires everyone you meet, which is what I just said. You can overcome any problem and you will naturally and easily achieve success. And that's all true. So we're going to go on to our 2 soul truth cards. So the first one was, when was the last time I danced freely? And so what it says is, because it will shift you into a beautiful state, because it will get you out of your head and into your body and heart, because fear lives in the head along with anxiety, control, guilt, frustration, and impatience. In just a few minutes of dancing, you will make the shift. You will feel a charge of joy and confidence. And look, she looks like she's dancing. And we talked about joy and confidence in this card. You will feel the shift. You will feel a change of joy and confidence take over, and you will feel a soul reminder to live and lead from your heart. So really connecting with yourself. And as I read that, I'm thinking that's where I talked about the heart chakra and that connection. So pulling into yourself and doing things that are helpful to you. And even if that is like literally dancing, because as it says, dancing is a tool to ground us in the now. And it triggers happiness. It's the gateway to freedom, which is a word that we've got twice now. So we've got the freedom of the horse. And then freedom was in, where was that? I cannot remember right now. But freedom, I've talked about a couple of times. Oh, when I was talking, whenever I was talking about the hands up in this one, the hands up in this one, you know, that we're looking at that freedom, that release. So dancing is a tool to ground us in the now. It triggers happiness and is a gateway to freedom, to become free. Dance. So I literally like to put on earbuds and shut myself in a room and dance, and that's a way that I can kind of release some of those anxieties and energy. But for you, it's kind of whatever you want. Now the suggestion from the soul action on the card is dance for 3 minutes to your favorite song. Notice the inward fire grow within and the feeling you feel of being you. And that's what I've been saying in this reading. Like a lot of this is talking about you focusing on you and knowing what I know of you. That makes sense because you're very good at helping other people. And I think you do focus on yourself some, but this is saying it's really time for you to focus on your passions, your desires, and what you want. Not that you have to push other people aside, but that you are growing your spirit and growing what it is that lights your soul on fire. You are a wild, loving force. You are a wild, loving force. Express it with dance today. And then the last card. How can I be more flexible right now? What are you trying to control? Maybe it's time to let go. So that is exactly what we were talking about with the Six of Cups. If there's something from the past that you feel like you're still holding on to, you can still keep that connection, but it's time to be able to release some of those things, whether it's people that you feel like I said, are kind of judgmental, or situations that aren't serving you anymore, releasing things that are giving you this headache, this difficulty, things that you've been told, rules or things from the past. You've got to get to this freedom. So let love move through you today and trust the outcome will be for your highest good. And the action that this card is suggesting is to remind yourself all day long that you are safe, that life is happening for you, and that you are not alone. So with this, I was like seeing that up and down again. So sometimes we may feel like there are things back to back that happen. And it's not that any one of them in and of itself is really difficult or makes us feel stressed or overwhelmed, but sometimes they start adding up. And so like when I'm doing therapy and I talk to people about acknowledging the negative things that happen, but not harping on them, not making it bigger. I mean, it feels big, but not like allowing our brain to focus on that, because then the brain says, oh, this is important. And so then any little thing, like say you stub your toe. Now a stubbed toe is on the same level of frustration as an issue with your car or something like that. And so it's being able to refocus those thoughts. So we acknowledge the things that have happened, but refocusing onto things that also went right, so that it's more of a balance. And it says you can do some yoga. I don't know. I'm not coordinated enough for yoga. So I feel like that's coming back to it, whether it's meditation, whether it's that dancing, whether it's swimming in the pool, or anything, going out into the garden, walking around, whatever it is that pulls you back into a moment that you have for yourself, where you just allow yourself to move through the day and trust that the outcome will be good. So it's kind of that mindfulness and refocusing. I hope that that was helpful. Goodness gracious, we are at 42 minutes and 29 seconds, but I feel like as long as you have waited for this, that is worth it. And I hope that it, like I said, is helpful. And if you have any questions, I don't always remember what I said, but definitely ask them to me. Thank you, Cathy. We love you.